Boston, whether the Red Sox can keep Mookie Betts from testing free agency will be a hot topic until, well, he either hits free agency or agrees to a deal. At the least, ownership has a continued, stated interest in locking him up long-term, as would be expected with the American League MVP. "He's one of the great players of our generation," Tom Werner said Friday at Winter Weekend. "Obviously, if we have conversations, they will be private, but it's our hope that he'll be a Red Sox player for his whole baseball career." More John Henry when asked about extensions generally. One thing Henry noted is that players appear more interested in reaching free agency rather than signing extensions earlier. "Another thing in this free agency we've seen is that there used to be younger players signing long-term deals before they got to free agency," Henry said. "But it seems like more and more players are going to free agency, and so you're seeing less and less in the way of extensions." Click here to download the new My Teams app by NBC Sports. Receive comprehensive coverage of your teams and stream the Celtics easily on your device. Mashantucket.com. In a slow off-season, albeit one in which the Red Sox were not expected to do much, Red Sox owner John Henry gave some insight into his views of the free agent marketplace and baseball's economic landscape. Here's his lengthy assessment. 20 years ago, roughly I think 45% of wins above replacement were due to players that were beyond 6 years of service," Henry said. "That number now is 25%. I think that clubs, including the Red Sox, had been slow to sort of adjust. I think that the price of a win above replacement, which is what a lot of clubs look at, some clubs, including us, look at much more than that, but if you just look at that as one thing that a number of clubs look at, I remember 5 years ago, I think that number was something like $5 or $6 million, maybe as much as $7 million per win. Now, it's $10 million. We have a lot more production, something from younger players for whatever reason. I think that has negatively impacted free agency. Also, there has been a lot of money paid at the every top. By that, I mean very top players. There are something like 45 or 50 players that are paid more than $20 million a year at this point, so that means above average free agents are not getting the kind of deals they probably should get. It's complicated, but there's certainly not any lack of desire among teams to win. People talk about tanking, but pretty much all American sports have a system where, if you finish low, you get a high draft pick. There's going to be, when you're not competitive in a particular year, you don't have a real incentive to change that. And in fact, it's a problem with basketball, it's a problem with baseball, but the only way you can change it is if you get rid of the draft system that we have, and I'm not sure that's a thing to do." More John Henry. Click here to download the new My Teams app by NBC Sports. Receive comprehensive coverage of your teams and stream the Celtics easily on your device. Mashantucket.com. The highest luxury tax threshold for 2019 isn't going to keep the Red Sox from adding a reliever, Sox owner John Henry indicated on Friday. "It's simply the dollars overall that may keep the team that already has the highest payroll in baseball from spending more." Per Henry, the team is already very close to the golden number of $246 million, as calculated for luxury tax purposes. "We're right at that," Henry said. "How important is it to avoid that mark, is the question? Obviously, not that important. The team exceeded the highest threshold in 2018. Still, the fact that the Red Sox haven't made any moves for a reliever yet is a sign they're trying to keep costs down. Relatively speaking, last year was, I think we were $40 million above everybody else," Henry said. "We spent a lot of money last year. We hope that's not the case forever." More Henry. Government shutdown could keep Sox from White House visit. Henry acknowledged that with Joe Kelly gone and Craig Kimbrell potentially leaving as well, the bullpen is a question. "With the back end of the bullpen, that's a question you always, every year, have some questions," Henry said. "That's probably going to be the biggest question." Sox ownership, though, seems to be near the limit of what they can tolerate spending, regardless of the luxury tax. "Would we get another reliever? Our budget is below that," Henry said. "But last year we exceeded our budget, and we went into spring training with a $200 million budget. We came out of spring training with $230 million, and I think we closed at $239 or $237 million, somewhere in that range. So you look at what your needs are, and we have constraints. All of us have constraints. But it's not necessarily the CBT that is your constraint. It's how much money are you willing to lose. The Red Sox lost money in 2018 on an operational basis, industry sources said, which includes payroll and tickets and merchandise and the postseason. It does not include the money NESN makes, and the ownership group also owns an ESN, nor the appreciation of the franchise value. Generally, we hope not to. Henry said. I would say more years often than not we probably have. But that's more of a concern I think than the CBT. I think every team adjusts payroll to some extent upon their competitive. Sometimes, like last year, you go above and beyond, I think, because you think, well, this year we're missing just one piece, or two pieces. You're less concerned than if you don't feel like this is going to be your year. Click here to download the new My Teams app by NBC Sports. Receive comprehensive coverage of your teams and stream the Celtics easily on your device.